Chapter 5 The Terrible Tractors. As the sun rose the next morning, Buggis and Buns and Bean were still digging. They had dug a hole so deep you could have put a house into it, but they had not yet come to the end of the fox's tunnel. They were all very tired and cross. "Dang and blessed," said Buggis. "Whose rotten idea was this?" "Bean's idea," said Buns. Buggis and Buns both stared at Bean. Bean took another swing of cider, then put the flask back into his pocket without offering it to the others. "Listen," he said angrily. "I want the fox. I am going to get the fox. I'm not giving in till I've strung him up over my front porch dead as a dumpling. We can't get him by digging." "That's for sure," said the fat Buggis. "I've had enough of digging." Buns, the little pot-boiled dwarf, looked up at Bean and said, "Have you got any more stupid ideas then?" "What?" said Bean. "I can't hear you. Bean ever took a bath? He never even washed. As a result, his ear holes were clogged with all kinds of musk and wax and bits of chewing gum and dead flies and stuff like that. This made him deaf." "Speak louder," he said to Buns. And Buns shouted back, "Got any more stupid ideas?" Bean rubbed the back of his neck into a dirty finger. He had a boil coming there, and it itched. "What we need on this job," he said, "these machines, mechanical shovels. We'll have him out in 5 minutes with mechanical shovels." This was a pretty good idea, and the other two had to admit it. "All right then," Bean said, taking charge. "Buggis, you stay here and see the fox doesn't escape. Buns and I will go and fetch ours. If he tries to get out, shoot him quick." The long, thin Bean walked away. The tiny Buns trotted after him. The fat Buggis stayed where he was with his gun pointing at the fox hole. Soon 2 enormous caterpillar tractors with mechanical shovels in their front ends came clacking into the wood. Bean was driving one, Buns the other. The machines were both black. They were murderous, brutally looking monsters. "Here we go then," shouted Bean. "Death to the fox," shouted Buns. The machines went to work, beating huge mouthfuls of soil. Out of the hill, the big tree under which Mr. Fox had dug his hole in the first place was topped like a mustache. On all sides, rocks were sent flying, the trees were falling, and the noise was deafening. Down the tunnel, the foxes crouched, listening the terrible clanging and banging. Overhead, "What's happening, Dad?" cried the small foxes. What are going to What are they going? What are they doing? Mr. Fox didn't know what was happening or what were doing. "It's an earthquake," cried Mrs. Fox. "Look," said one of the small foxes, "our tunnels got shattered. I can see daylight." They all looked round, and yes, the mouth of the tunnel was only a few feet away from them now, and in the circle of daylight beyond they could see the two huge black tractors almost on the top of them. "Tractors," said Mr. Fox, "and mechanical shovels. Dig for your lives. Dig, dig, dig."